future for score is not going to be score predict anymore, but more like score vision. We're going to run different type of models. So obviously pitch detection, foul detection, players detection, ball detection. We're going to make sure that we can describe everything there's on a frame from the footage. We can also kind of rag the game and go through the game and understand different correlations on their television. That the stats on the favorite channel is provided by the Subnet. Replacing AWS on those football games, or stuff like that, like provided or powered by Score, and also probably knowing that the next Messi would be discovered thanks to the miners' work would be amazing.
Welcome to the Ventura Labs podcast, where we dive into the world of Bittensor and explore the latest developments and innovations. Today, I'm joined by Max Sebti, a founder of Score, Subnet 44. They are a pioneer in AI-driven sports analytics. Max will share his journey from his early days in crypto and Bitcoin mining to his current company and their unique Subnet solutions, as well as how they are integrating modern machine learning into football. And now, back to Max with the 13th Ventura Labs podcast.
Can you introduce yourself and your professional background and history?
Sure, yes. So I'm Max, running Subnet 44 with two of my co-founders. My background is in mainly in anything like go-to-market. Started in the crypto industry in 2016, was in advertising before that. Co-founded a company that was mining Bitcoin and green energy that was a bit early back then, and really close to the metal. So fast forward, started to work, with different projects, crypto projects mainly, and in 2021 and 2022 had a couple of wins. I started to work on kind of liquid work protocols. I was one of the directors from Human Protocol. That's where I started to kind of work at the intersection of AI and Web3. We're labeling data for AI companies. We've reached 3 billion tasks a month at some point. Realized that I was really, really passionate about what Web3 could bring to AI. So also started another company, joined as a late co-founder called CrunchDAO. I guess we're going to talk about it later. At a couple of interesting things as well in parallel. Started to advise some footballers, as in soccer for you guys. As their kind of Web3 guy. Decided to kind of merge all of my different experiences into this subnet and try to kind of disrupt the world of football.
There you go. You seem to have a pretty robust crypto history here. What got you into crypto back in 2016? You said you were a Bitcoin miner even.
Probably. So funny enough, the reason I started this, Bitcoin mining thing was because I was trying to have a positive impact on the energy consumption. So I kind of fell down the rabbit hole through the energy play first, and then I realized that more than just very, very efficient ways to kind of make the grid more resilient. Obviously, I heard about Bitcoin before that, but I just realized that this world of crypto was kind of perfect for someone like me. I'm nothing but a misfit, so crypto is perfect for people like me.
Crypto does tend to gravitate towards misfits. That's interesting. You cared about the energy consumption. Yeah. That's what attracted you.
Yeah. I just realized that my personal background kind of took me to different places in the world, and also my family is coming from different places in the world. I just realized that I was born and raised in Paris, by the way. But I just realized that there's a lot of places around the world that would benefit from a new way to kind of see how energy is produced and and shared and owned or stuff like that. So and I felt like Bitcoin was the best way to kind of solve this problem, because it would bring value basically and to any power plant or any new project of setting up new power plants. So the incentive was more like trying to find business rationale behind setting up new plants, basically. And
And
Bitcoin is perfect for that.
yeah, a lot of people like Bitcoin for that reason.
Yeah.
You mentioned CrunchDAO. What was your involvement with them?
So I started as an advisor first, working on the tokenomics mainly, and also some crypto partnerships. Then when I left Human, I joined as a core, as a member of the core team. Someone could say like late co-founder, whatever, and helped Jean and the team to kind of set up the brand and make sure that we could move to the next step. Raised some money with them and just moved to a step where now it's going to become like a very I think big prediction network.
And what is CrunchDAO? What does it do? What's the purpose of it?
So CrunchDAO is in the beginning, CrunchDAO was, and it's still like a community of machine learning engineers. So there's like 7,000 of them competing against each other to outperform in-house teams from customers on different type of challenges. Could be finance, could be healthcare, anything that would use math and machine learning. Crunchers would just jump on it and just make sure that they provide the best models on the planet. And some people in the beginning thought that Crunch was more like a Kaggle type of platform where you just push some competitions, but actually that's bigger than that. It's like as an ML engineer, you can get like recurring revenue from the platform because your models are always plugged to customers that are using your predictions and your models like on a recurring basis. And also basically you are getting in front of problems that are so complex and that are really moving the needle for the customers that it's nowhere near like a traditional competition.
So do people on CrunchDAO get paid based off how much their models use? Is that how that works?
I would say it's just on a meritocratic basis. So the leaderboard kind of governs it all. But then if one of the model can perform on a specific problem, there's a chance that it could perform on another type of problem, because in the end it's like a math problem for people. I mean, for crunchers, because I don't have the ability to kind of assess that. But yeah, in the end, people can definitely like keep on making money on the base of models they're uploading on Crunch. Yeah, 100%.
It's interesting. It sounds similar to a subnet, but we won't get too much into that.
Yeah. I can probably kind of explain to you what's the difference.
What's your team that you're working with on 44 on Score Predict? What's their background?
So there's 3 co-founders. Nigel, I can tell you a bit more about him. Is the ultimate connector. He's got like a background in tech, so he sold one of his first companies to Microsoft. The company sold, then became Xbox. So that was kind of a crazy journey for him. Then he started a clothing brand with, I don't know if you're familiar with Liam Gallagher from Oasis, like the rock star.
No, I haven't heard of them.
You'll check. They're pretty famous in Europe and in the world. Took the business from, just a great idea to leverage IP from a singer to like $100 million, revenue type of brands. Sold it to a public company. And I'm saying this because you'll understand our connection with football as well. So he's got 5 sons. 3 of them are professional footballers. And also his granddad was playing for England. His dad was working for Premier League clubs. So he's connected. Is definitely connected. So if you want to reach out to anyone in the world of football, you just have to have Nigel's number. Obviously the best salesman I ever worked with, and definitely my brother. And whilst he was building the clothing brands with Liam Gallagher, he hired someone called Tim, and Tim now is our CTO. So they've been working together for like roughly 20 years. We've been working all together for like 4. And Tim has a background in tech. He kind of created Shopify before Shopify for the sake of pushing the brand. and then kept, evolving in this world. He's also like kind of a crypto OG. He started this journey like in 2011 or 2010, something like that. Mined, different type of cryptocurrencies from Doge to ETH and stuff. And yeah, so he's built, and anything you would see, like the app we've pushed when we launched Predict was built by Tim. The app we've launched as well with Harry Kane, the footballer, was built by Tim. So he's kind of a tech guru, even if he's too humble to position himself like that. So yeah, there's the three of us, and then obviously we're working with different people to help us on the tech end and also on the comms end. But the core team is really like the three co-founders.
That's great. And what's the subnet you guys are working on? 44, Score Predict. How would you describe what you guys are doing there currently?
So the idea behind Predict was to help our customers. So we've been already working with people, in the football world, and they all wanted to have nice features to kind of help fuel their fan conversations and, try to get content pushed through their apps. So we thought we would just launch a prediction, subnet where people would compete to predict, game outcomes. And we started off of that in August this year, 2024. And we've pushed it probably a bit late, even if we started with a nice app where people, like human beings, not miners, even if miners are a human being, but not pushing code, could play on the subnet and try to kind of make the prediction stronger. So we've launched the app in August with the subnet, ran it for a couple of months, and just realized that, again, on the back of conversations we had with customers, that we kind of had to do more. So also happy to tell you about the kind of pivot we are pushing right now.
Yeah, let's get into the pivot. What's the future looking like for Score Predict?
So I think the future is exciting. We just realized that predictions are great. And there's some subnets that are doing a great job, like Subnet 6 or even Sports Tensor. But we just realized that to kind of serve our customers, we needed to do more. And when I talk about customers, I'm talking about head of medicals from top, top league clubs, scouts from also big teams in Europe and in the US, asking us, how can we leverage AI to make sure we can discover new talents, prevent injuries from happening, also make sure that we find ways to kind of win games in a more efficient way, yada, yada, yada. So we just came to the realization that we needed to leverage computer vision, like teach machines how to understand the game of football, and just extract a lot of insights from that. Obviously, working with the customers, try to also extract their kind of knowledge and intelligence around that. But yeah, the future for Score is not going to be Score Predict anymore, but more like Score Vision. We've published a white paper. Worked on a new way to validate how you train computer vision models. Predictions are still going to be part of what we do, not from the miners ends. But when you extract the data from the computer vision process, you also need to process this data again to kind of send it to your different type of customers. So at some point we'll have to keep on running predictions, but kind of a different type of prediction, not just telling who's going to win.
So currently, what the miners do is predict this team will win or this team will win. That's Score Predict.
Yeah,
you're saying in the future, it'll be Score Vision.
Yeah.
So the miners will be something that watches a football game or a soccer game, whatever country they are in.
Yeah.
And they do this for what purpose? What's the purpose of watching the game? Is it to build a data set?
Yeah, mainly to build a data set. So miners are going to annotate basically footage from the games frame by frame. And then we're going to validate the accuracy of the annotation. And based on that, we're going to run different models and kind of serve insights to customers based on what they expect from the data set, basically.
So the first iteration of this vision model, what will you guys look to extract from those vision models?
So when you watch any type of game or any type of sports, first thing you want to do is to understand what's happening on the pitch, on the floor, on the pitch. So we're going to run different type of models. So obviously pitch detection, foul detection, players detection, ball detection. So that's the kind of first level. Then when you have access to something really, really accurate on these models, then you kind of push the needle and you ask more. So trying to understand what's going to happen in the next 5 minutes, because of this and that. So that's pretty much what we're going to do. But in the beginning, we're really going to build this kind of understanding of what's happening on the pitch.
Huh. That's interesting. You're gonna try to teach basically a computer what to extract from a game to distill it into data points to where a model could understand it.
Yeah, 100%. And then we're going to also try to make sure that we can describe everything there's on a frame from the footage. So we can also kind of rag the game and go through the game and trying to understand, different correlations between what happened on the game, and during the game and stuff like that.
And why do you feel it's best to do this on Bittensor as a subnet rather than doing this independently with your own models as a standalone business?
I'm probably going to say something that'll make you smile, but I don't know anywhere in the world, any other network when you can compress time and resources the way Bittensor is doing this. Also where the incentivizers are, solidly aligned, where you know that you're going to outperform anything else. So I don't know anything better to get the better, training and kind of the best training and the better inference.
Yeah, it seems to be a common thread. It's the
Yeah,
pace of
I'm sorry, I'm
innovation.
not going to be, I'm not going to be really, different from the others, but it's just true. It's just amazing.
But that was the purpose of Bittensor, was to increase the pace of innovation. So why is it important to build a sports data set? What are the future applications of this?
So in football, so the reason we started with football, like soccer, is because 98% of the market, even if you can think that in Europe, football is something big, but 98% of this market can't have access to data analytics. But even the top clubs are relying on data to kind of find the new talents. And also finding new talents kind of bears a really high cost because you have to hire people to kind of go and watch games and try to understand what's happening in different places in the world. So I think one of the biggest use cases is probably going to be scouting, but like in a decentralized way where people are going to be able to kind of be a scout at a local level and contribute to score and generate, value for the entire ecosystem. I would say also there's another, obviously that's probably not my favorite one, but it is what it is. I think for people that are really huge into betting, there's probably going to be like the most detailed and refined data set that you could ever find on football. And then you have a lot of different use cases, media companies that are now, because, football rights are going crazy. It's really, really expensive to kind of get access to that footage. They're probably going to start covering lower leagues. So when you want to start covering lower leagues, you want to have access to a structure, to kind of something you can tap into to get like highlights in an automated way, stuff like that. And that's something we're going to enable for all the lower leagues. But I can go on and on with different use cases, but I think those three are probably going to be the biggest ones.
And your target customers are these major clubs, individual consumers, or
I think leveraging
maybe
Bittensor is great because you can basically go and try to, attack both ends of the market. For elite clubs, basically what you're going to try to do is not just pushing analytics. They have access to analytics anyway, but maybe work with people like Brian McDermott. Someone we're working with is a former Arsenal player and also a Premier League coach, what we're going to do with him is try to teach our models to let people understand what's the philosophy of winning. For instance, with the ball, without the ball, really getting to the world of insight. So for an elite coach, for instance, helping him understand how to win with his current team, his current, roster, stuff like that. And for lower leagues, basically giving them access to, what state of the art, like Opta stats or stats bombs or Genius, just like an extensive dashboard where they can understand what to work on, or also make sure that they can shine and get, also, under the radar, basically on the radar. Sorry.
So you see this potentially being like an advisor to a coach?
For the elite, yeah. But for the rest of the football world, it's probably going to be more like a live or like real life football manager, where you're going to be able to kind of know more about your value on the market as a player, understand where you can fit in a team, try to get on the radar from scouts, stuff like that. So that's probably going to gamify like the real world of football.
That's interesting. It could help, I guess, potential players know what they have to focus on, what they have to get better on to get recruited by scouts now.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. You definitely don't want just to be like a dashboard with charts and stuff. We want to, the whole purpose of those, LLMs and stuff like that is to let people live in a world where they have like assistants, AI agents, stuff like that. So we really want to leverage this and make sure that they have like great and seamless experience as a football fan or as a football enthusiast or player.
It's similar to in the money, like movie ball for baseball. You want to create almost a formula for football now.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, Moneyball, 100%. That's what we're selling, and that's the reason why it resonates with so many different people. Because with data and AI, the beautiful thing is, even if you just use like Claude or ChatGPT, you can have different levels of conversation. If you come with like if you're a PhD and you start talking to ChatGPT is going to try to get back to you, trying to kind of keep up with your level of conversation. That's the same thing with score. If you come and you don't know anything about football, obviously you get like first level kind of information. But if you want to go deeper, it's on us to make sure you can also have the best experience possible.
Interesting. Do you foresee a interactive chat app with your database happening?
Probably that would be amazing to be able to just be on like a mobile app where people can ask questions and get insights, and that would be amazing. From a product perspective, we're working on different things. But maybe letting people chat with the model would be fun.
That opens up the whole market of like commentary too.
Yeah,
Now you have AI commentary on games.
I would say that's probably like the biggest step after all the scouting thing. When you really know how to analyze a game, if you can do it like in real time, then you can become like a live commentary app, which is also really powerful, but it requires a bit more work from us.
Be football inference. That's what that would be.
That's all right. That's a good thing. That's a good term.
Absolutely. So football right now is the focus. Will you ever expand? Do you plan to expand? Do you want to expand to other sports?
I would say yes, but really after like being like the best of the best, the best of the best on football. The focus, and also the reason I'm saying this is because there's a lot of different sports that are already really covered with AI companies, and the opportunity in football is massive. This is also like a really big market. It's like a 600 billion market. So it's quite good. It's quite huge. Going to different sports would probably be driven by maybe breakthrough. We could do more on a computer vision end rather than just being the analytics kind of tool. But also, you never know when you start training those models, and when you try to be really smart with the way you validate an unsupervised way of pushing the limits, then maybe we're going to stumble on a breakthrough that would be valuable for other sports.
And this validation process for these computer vision models, would you do it in like a deterministic way? Like the validator runs the same model as the miner and they just
No, so we're going to let the miners do whatever they want, basically. Validators are going to run the same VLMs. We know that VLMs are, they could be better. So we're working at the moment with different subnets to try to see if we can, add in our process like some data labeling from, like, if we can add human in the loop, basically, to do some data labeling to kind of create like a ground truth when it comes to kind of set up the, the boxes on the pictures, something like that. But the clear thing we want to do is we want the validations to be really, really lightweight. And then from a math perspective as well, we've been working on a way to kind of like measure the distance between the boxes in a very, very simple and lightweight way. And I think miners are the smartest people in this industry, in the entire ecosystem. So you don't want to tell miners what to do. You just want to tell miners what they have to achieve, basically.
absolutely let the innovation take over, let the
Yeah.
creativity run wild. What's the end goal of this subnet? Say everything goes right. What's the end goal? What's the
The end
idea?
goal of the subnet is definitely going to be like we want to be really focused on commercializing the data set and also the insights. We don't want to be like a data broker. But we really want to be like, the best thing we could do is letting people, that are engaging with us, just see on their television that the stats, on the favorite channel is provided by the subnet. That would be the end. Replacing AWS on those football games, like or stuff like that, like provided or powered by Score during games would be like the end goal, definitely. And also probably knowing that the next Messi would be discovered thanks to the miners' work would be amazing.
You brought up Messi or Ronaldo?
Yeah. Oh, that's a tough question. I have to go with Ronaldo.
Really?
Yeah, and the reason is we just sent him a proposal to join our app.
There you go. There you
I
go.
have to be a corporate man.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's big on YouTube now too. So
Oh, yeah. He's just like, I think he's just impressive. Anything he touches, turns to gold.
look, CR7 and Score Predict collab coming soon.
I don't know. I didn't say that. I just said I sent him a proposal.
That would be awesome. So detail seems like an inevitability at this point. What are your thoughts on detail?
I think I like the fact that things are going to be a bit more democratized and that, token holders are going to have a say on what happens on a subnet. And also, I think the signaling part of detail is probably the most interesting thing. It's like opening the subnets so trying to talk to validators and kind of prove the network that your subnet is worth their time and effort is more like a B2B conversation. You're trying to just get huge deals, which is fine and honestly very interesting because, depending on who you talk to, you can get different feedback and that's cool. But the exciting thing with detail is that's going to kind of bring more like B2C conversations, traditional marketing, and also that's going to probably push all the subnets to start doing marketing. Which is great because I love competition. We're working in the world of sports, so competition for us is like the perfect perfect thing to happen.
Absolutely. You're saying subnets will now be forced to advertise and build products, I'm assuming.
Yeah, products. Whatever it means. You'll have to be very clear and transparent on what you're trying to build, what you're trying to achieve, but not just from a kind of scientific point of view. Also on who's going to be your end customer. Are you going to monetize what you're doing on the subnet? And also something probably like the most critical thing. Are you going to kind of take a bit of value, the value created outside of Bittensor, are you going to kind of bring that back? How much of that are you going to bring back? What's the rationale behind bringing this back to the ecosystem? So I think there's going to be a lot of good and tough and good conversations about detail and yeah.
You envision the revenue kind of circling back to the miners is what you're suggesting here.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you really go, if you really try to understand where this, I might be wrong by the way, but I think that would be so powerful to make sure that all the work that has been done to kind of go to step one, which is I'm a miner, done the job, I've produced like the best, model, that provides X. The step after that is, the subnet gets money from that. I think the best thing that can happen to Bittensor is that a part of this money should come back to Bittensor, basically, and that would make the thing even bigger.
And it makes the subnet role similar to more a business model where miners are kind of viewed as employees of that subnet. And then,
yeah, I mean, I don't know if employee is the right term, because I think people are mining also because of the freedom they can get from this activity. So they probably don't want to be considered as employees. But I think the exciting part is just creating positive feedback loops. And just so if you're a sub network of Bittensor, then you kind of have also to set your business model within the sub network. And I think some businesses are going to be really smart in the way to do that, to kind of keep long-term relationship with the best miners and stuff. I think that's something that's going to happen anyway.
yeah, employees might not have been the best term because in detail, they'll be compensated with essentially shares of the subnet. So they'd be more so partners and
Yeah.
want to see the success. Recently, YUMA, DCG's like Bittensor arm, announced or posted you guys as a portfolio subnet of theirs. What has that been like?
I mean, that's a great journey. We've been working with YUMA slash DCG since August, and I have to say that their team is really amazing with us. They've been supportive. They've helped us kind of assess all the different things we should do to kind of make sure that our subnet would run perfectly, and they're always around if we need anything. And yeah, they have such a strong vision on what should be on Bittensor, and also how we should push it and how we should interact with different stakeholders.
And how does YUMA help you get closer to your end goal and better you guys as a subnet?
I think it's like working with, so the DCG's background is being like a VC as well for other projects. This thing has nothing to do with like investment or whatever. They're really just supporting the ecosystem. They're accelerating subnets, and I think they just smart. They just know what to do and how to make sure that any type of action we would take would just go in the right direction of being aligned with the customers, being aligned with the validators, being aligned with the miners, and yeah, honestly, Bittensor is more like a three-sided marketplace, and most of the time in crypto you work in a two-sided marketplace. So having a bit of help from people like that is always a good thing, and yeah, they've been amazing with us so far.
When you say Bittensor's a three-sided marketplace, what exactly do you mean by that?
You need to sell to validators, you need to sell to miners, because obviously if your reward function is shit, pardon my French, I'm French, so I might use that.
It's okay.
Yeah, if that's not working well, miners are not going to really like working for you, and you'll see that on the outcome, basically. And then you have to use what you're doing on your subnet to kind of sell to the customer. So you always selling.
Got it. And then let's, I guess, go back to sports and what you're doing there. How do you see AI transforming the sports marketplace in general in the future? We're seeing some like hints of this with the analytics that you talked about with AWS and stuff.
Yeah, I think, and that's what we're trying to do. I think AI in sport is amazing and bears a lot of different, opportunities. But I think the way I would define success would be make sure that people enjoy sports more in the end. And I think we're going through at the moment an era where analytics are just there to be annoying, just like you missed out and you should have done better than, it's just like pushing people. I think AI should go further than that and really become like a friend or an assistant or something that is there to make you better or just enjoy the game a bit more, not just pointing you out what's wrong and, that stuff like that, which is obviously a huge problem at the moment. And it probably even more when we're going to kind of address the lower leagues. I think young players are going to try also to build up their confidence and try to kind of make sure they can go, from a level to another. So you have to be there with, for them and just be more supportive. So I think, funny enough, AI will probably bring a bit more warmth, or should bring a bit more warmth than just, kind of spell out just cold analytics.
Interesting. That reminds me of Dippy's kind of motto with AI friends.
Yeah.
You could have like an AI personal trainer now for specific players all the way through youth.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys have been live since August. What has been your biggest takeaway so far from building on Bittensor?
I think it's probably also something you've already heard, but subnet owners should really focus on the incentive mechanism and also have a clear benchmark and make sure they have one key metric and trying to kind of really focus on that. And when we say incentive mechanism, I can already hear like people talking about like game theory or stuff like that. It's cool. You can come with something, smart and stuff like that. But again, don't try to outsmart miners. You won't be able to do that. Just try to make sure that the way you validate things is robust, makes sense, lightweight, and let miners do their work basically. And then make sure that in the way you build your incentive mechanism, you can really find something that tells you a lot on what people are trying to achieve, not just like a flat line of people, pushing the same thing and you getting the same outcome, basically. So I would say, yeah, just focus on one key metric and one very robust way to validate your assumptions or the work you've been, you're processing on the subnet.
What is your guys' approach towards the distribution models of incentives? Do you favor the winner take all or a more uniform?
Yeah, we've tried on Predict. We've tried to be fair with people. Like, we've even tried to not set the rewards on like just 6 hours or 24 hours. We've made sure that it would be like across 3 days, and we tried to smooth it out. But I think the winners takes it all kind of reward. Kind of distribution is great for just winners, and you can also be really upsetting people, miners and stuff like that. I think you should let a distribution be really smooth rather than try to optimize just for like 1 or 2 miners.
Got it. Yeah, that's you guys have had quite the journey since August.
Definitely.
What is you said you're from Paris, you grew up there.
Yeah.
Mbappe. You guys know him? You're working with Ronaldo.
No, we're not working with him yet. And by the way, when I'm mentioning players, it's more so just for you to know and for people that are going to probably come across this podcast. We've launched an app with Harry Kane in October this year.
Yeah.
And the app is using the predictions that we are pushing from the subnet just to feed like an agent that is like a bot, basically, that is like just doing some pushing some information in the chat. The app is literally like a chat with the super fans. And the funny bit is that people can send messages, but no one in the chat would see the messages until the player replies, basically. So it's a very slow-paced, intimate chat with between the player and the super fans. So when I'm talking about Ronaldo and other players, they're probably going to join the. It's not done yet, but they're probably going to join the app, which is called Cleats Club. And then what we do when they join the app is we also try to kind of educate them around data, how to own the data. That data set is probably going to be the most valuable asset they have. So obviously then we'll talk about score and what we can do for them. But yeah, that's how
So
we are connected to players.
the app you're doing, Cleats Club, is people just talk to players directly.
Yeah.
Just ask them questions and
Yeah.
chat with them.
And what we do as core technologies as a whole, not just core predict, is we make sure that we add some features to the app. So we working on the app to have this kind of chatbot that is just kind of telling people what's happening during a game. And we're also working with other football apps. Can't really tell you their names because we're getting to we're hopefully going to sign some deals, but providing like prediction markets for football for them, stuff like that. So we're connected to players, but also to kind of football fan super apps and super fan apps. Sorry. So that's how we're gonna get the traction we have in this football world.
You guys have a heavy emphasis on product and consumers, and I'll wrap it up with this. What advice would you have for builders in Bittensor? Because you are a builder yourself.
I mean, if they really want to have a live product, I think they should focus on one core feature that would be in line with all the validation thing I mentioned, and then probably so that's our approach. We're probably going to, I don't know if we're going to change it in the future, but our approach is kind of, we know what we can have and what we can produce through the subnet, and then we just make sure to find other builders that are waiting for us to kind of provide with what we're producing on the subnet. So we're trying to kind of fix the distribution. The reason we've started to build some apps is because what we're trying to achieve is kind of new. So we wanted people to kind of understand what could be done basically with our tech. But the end game would be for people to just come and tap into kind of our protocol, let's say, rather than have to kind of build all the apps, ourselves.
What predicts the protocol for football? Max, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, that was
Thank
great.
you.
Thanks a lot.